always say, look at three or four restaurants near your home where you work better than we will ever or anybody, any guy or any professional. Look up the reviews of those restaurants and see if we're accurate and fair. If we are, you can begin to trust what we do. And that's the real appropriate test of any guy. If we're not accurate and fair, you ought to throw it out and never bother with it again. And we have the obligation to keep on doing it right every year. If we stop doing things accurately and fairly, you and everybody else have the means to figure it out.
Yes.
I was just wondering, as your guide gained in notoriety over time, what was the wow moment for you when you realized you had this giant influence?
Somebody told us, you're a brand. And I said, what's a brand? And I guess that was the moment. I really didn't, until somebody explained what a brand is, I didn't know that we were so, that we got really, used us that much. Basically put their own thinking into what we do. Is that fair?
Yep. Yes.
Obviously, your operation has been a successful. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about your involvement in the guide today and how large your operation is.
Okay. Well, our office is on Columbus Circle, 58th Street and 8th Avenue. We have approximately 100 people that work for us there. And then in each of the cities that we cover, we always have 2 people that help us with putting the guide together. And they're not people that work for us all the time, but during the time that we're working on a particular area.
They're very often leading restaurant critics from the city, so most people don't realize that. They think of us totally democratically driven. We are democratically driven in terms of the opinion of the restaurants or whatever such. But when you're talking about a restaurant that is this beautiful, lovely, and their job is to say what kind of looks lovely, what kind of Victorian or beautiful, postmodern, so that make sure that you understand what it is you're saying.
We've added a lot recently to our technology staff, so that the number of people that work for us are helping us with the website and with our different mobile products. That's been an important change for us. Does that pretty much answer your question?
We're working on a completely new website right now, which will be, I think, extraordinarily different from what we are doing currently. And as I think we said, our mobile products are really, I think, very much, they're very, very current in terms of technology. Our iPad and iPhone are probably the best-selling products for food and travel ever since those 2 platforms came out.
Yes.
Do you ever wonder whether you can be sure that the restaurant guide based in New York is as applicable in the same broad way as you branch out? Because I always figure New Yorkers are very serious and very sophisticated about food. And I've always thought of the guide as being, the food guide, the restaurant guide, as being particularly reliable because of that, and because people who do spend money to go out a lot tend to be very discriminating. On the other hand, movies, where it's national, and I find that people very frequently go to a lot of movies but don't have particularly good or sophisticated taste about them, in the same way that large gross movies are very frequently among the worst. Does that ever enter into how you work things out?
Yeah. You're, number one, there is a profession and an art to surveying. I think that, and also in different cities, you need guidance differently. If you're in Kansas City and you live in Kansas City, if you don't know most of the best restaurants, you probably, you're out of touch with your friends and neighbors. New York, you really need, we have 3,500 restaurants that we cover, and nobody knows all 3,500, not even the New York Times critic. So, number one, the need is different depending on the city. When you get into cities like Chicago or Los Angeles or San Francisco, we're very much the same kind of people we were when we first started doing 20-something years ago. Some of the secondary cities, Washington, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, we were worried that you said put a "le" in front of the name of a restaurant and everybody's going to give the grades higher. That didn't happen. Instead of the people being from Yale, Princeton, and Harvard, or wherever in New York, they were going to the University of Chicago and Northwestern, and they knew as much about traveling as the people of New York. And we very much had the same kind of people participating. We're also looking and focusing on certain kinds of people. We're not trying to be, when you do political surveying, you're trying to find the people who are going to vote. You're not interested in the people who are not going to vote because you're not making a projection of the non-voters. And if you have only 30% of the people voting in most state elections, you're ignoring, you have to have a way of segregating out the 60 or 70% who are not voting. So we know how to target the people who are most avid, and we also know how to eliminate the people that might have a self-interest in cheating, i.e. some of the restaurants would have, we drive an awful lot of traffic through restaurant doors. We don't want the restaurants getting in and playing the game, and we know how to identify them. We know when it's happening, and we punish, I shouldn't say punish, we sanction the restaurants when they do it. And, you're into a really interesting set of questions. You're not going to need a full guide in some places. And when we do Kansas City or when we do St. Louis, we're thinking more of the traveler coming in than the local person. We go to the local people for the information, but we're basically providing it to people who are going to be there for a few days.
I also think that it's important to realize that on Zagat.com for the restaurants, you get a chance to see not only the Zagat rating and review, but also any of the member reviews, so that you get that information all the time. And also, we keep adding all the new restaurants as they open, so that we keep the information absolutely current that way.
So also you're able to look at the underlying comments and see whether the review is consistent with what people are really saying.
I would think that you are also raising up the standard of all the restaurants because they're constantly under surveillance. And they're getting feedback from these books, and they want to raise up their ante for all the restaurants.
One of the things that was very interesting at the beginning was how many restaurateurs would come up to us to say, "Thank you. I really learned a lot about what we're doing right and what we can improve from the guide." And that was very exciting to us. And I do think that it raises the level of what is available to consumers.
We really are giving each review as a free market study of the restaurant's own customers. And let's say you get a 22 for food and a 16 for service on a scale of 30. Well, it's telling you people do not think the same. Identical people don't think your service is nearly as good as your food. If you want to do something about it, it's your privilege. I really think it has, in a lot of ways, we didn't anticipate has affected the industry. And we never, ever thought it was going to be a business until it became.
One last question.
Do you ever miss practicing law or not?
Not at all.
No, actually, there were times when law practice was fun, and there were times when it wasn't. What we're doing now is fun all the time.
And it's not as if we don't ever have questions come up about trademarks and all different kinds of things. So we get just enough of it.
So thank you, Nina and Tim, for raising the standards in New York and coming out here. And they're going to stick around. They're going to sign copies of their Zagat. So they,
Like the cat in a hat.
and we also have the shopping guide too, and the nightlife guide, and it's great for everybody. It's discounted and signed, and it's fitful for everyone. So, thanks for everyone coming.
Thank you all.